This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We got a good-looking panel ready to start your morning. What is going on over at Miss USA? That's what a lot of people want to know because Miss Teen USA resigned yesterday, okay? It is sending shockwaves throughout the community. In an Instagram post, Uma Sofia Sarvastova wrote, quote, "My personal values no longer fully align with the direction of the organization." Now, here's what's even crazier. Her resignation comes just days after Miss USA, Noelia Voigt, announced she was stepping down on Monday. In a post on Instagram, Noelia cited her mental health, saying, quote, "Never compromise your physical and mental well-being. Our health is our wealth." Some people in the comments noticed that if you take the first letter of the start of each sentence in the post, it spells out, "I am silenced."
Whoa. How did they notice that?
I don't know, but that's insane. Some others contestants.
How much Adderall?
But it worked, right? Some other contestants are also now weighing in on the drama. Miss Wisconsin is calling on the Miss USA organization to release Miss USA from the confidentiality NDA clause of her contract so she can be free to speak on her experiences. What is going on there? Sam, someone else resigned?
Yes,
we're at 3 now?
We are at 3, and this is the person that it looks like kind of kicked it all off.
Okay.
Now, those two statements are pretty vague. This one, their social media director, not so vague. So this comes from the Miss USA social media director who stepped down last week. "I feel the way the current management speaks about their title holders is unprofessional and inappropriate. I disavow workplace toxicity and bullying of any kind." Now, this also comes on the heels of new ownership, remember, in August of 2023. When they removed Trump, and you have this new group of people that were supposed to be all about female empowerment and equity and inclusion. I don't know what's happening, but so far it looks like the social media director is giving us the biggest tip-off.
Whoa, what do you think, Jeff, about this?
You know, listen.
You wish it was more detailed?
No. I think it's a little antiquated, to be honest with you. I
Just
think the pageantry
whole situation?
Yeah, especially where we are in, society about judging people and their bodies, and it's a little bit antiquated for me. And I'll use other examples. I think the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, which we're going to get to in a little bit, I think that's a little antiquated. And when I use the word antiquated, it's loose because there's other things going on. I think altar boys in the Catholic Church are a little antiquated. You don't need these. You don't need to expose your children put them in danger in some sort of way, and some people might take that, and this is my childhood, good for you.
Right.
Football was mine and you might hate football. But for me, my kids don't do sleepovers. My kids aren't going to sleepaway summer camps.
Right there
I'm going to limit the exposure that I have with grown adults judging young children or being around them by themselves. I have a certain prejudice. I have 2 young boys. That's fine. That's just my opinion and how I feel about some of these things. And where we're at in society, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're going to have to lose a couple of organizations and things that we might have loved or cherished in the past that no longer can exist in today's society.
Can I just say that was so well said?
Yeah, that was very well said.
I feel seen. Everything that you just stated is exactly what I wish I would have articulated. So thank you for saying all of that.
Wow.
You did a very nice job. Al, you have been saying this for so long, always, in the meetings and all that. Don't let your children be with an adult for even a second. So like piano teacher, alone. Even a piano teacher, you're like, I'm going to be right there watching. So what do you think about all this?
And
Not that this is, something.
But I get what you're saying, and I appreciate it. And I do want to say that with this caveat that there is a privilege.
Right.
You have Jordan at home. You have Mark at home. You have somebody there. Sometimes people are working 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, and honestly, mom or dad can't be there. Literally, there's nobody else, especially when you're in another city like we are. So I want to put that out there, but Sam passed me an article a couple months ago, and it just said it was written by somebody that worked for the
Evie
FBI.
Horace, who's been on the show. She's a former FBI and CIA agent and a mother.
And she was like, "This is why I don't let my kids do sleepovers." And unfortunately, it's sad. That's where we are, and I think that we get caught up in this nostalgia, and you hear it all the time. You know what, Jeff, in this neighborhood, we didn't have to lock doors. You know, in this neighborhood, nothing bad ever happened. And it's so interesting. I only hear that on podcasts. It's about to get into a 5-way murder that happened there. And it's maybe these things have been happening all the time, and the naivete and kind of the grandiosity being able to say, not here. Those are those are downtown people.
A lot of people didn't want to admit if they were sexually assaulted. Still to this day, because people, it's attached to such shame and guilt. And that's unfortunate, too.
What do we say about I just want to put up the other side, which is this allows a lot of scholarships, a lot of beautiful, talented women to progress. I had Miss USA come to my school to teach about HIV and AIDS. We've interviewed Miss USA pageants, contestants here. What about that other side that says this is worthy of an organization that has been long-standing and this just needs a new management?
They all have, well, they just had a new management that everybody would have thought was the best management possible.
Right.
And I don't have enough details to say if that management has faltered or not. I mean, but clearly when you have 3 people stepping down, that's a huge red flag. But the management that they hired, I mean, the woman in charge, she is in affiliation with UN Women. So that's why everybody was celebrating this move a year ago. But, you know, and you did bring up a really good point, Tori, and I don't want it to fall on deaf ears, the fact that these women, their sole job is philanthropy at this point, and that is a beautiful thing. That's exactly what it is. But I tend to agree with Jeff. I mean, there's plenty of other arenas where you can be a philanthropist, but this to me feels antiquated.
And it's not an attack on them. I want to make that clear. We're not attacking anybody. You were given, when I say we, I mean the cultural we gave you the privilege of giving you our most valued prize, which is our children, and that was violated over and over and over again in different ways in a story that we're about to get to soon. And when you do that, you might lose your ability to exist, sadly, because great things do come out of things like this, and it's sad that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah, interesting. Well, stick with us because we have an interesting convo coming up next as well. Coming up on DBL, the Boy Scouts. They are changing their name, why the organization is deciding to rebrand, and we're speaking with the adorable Brooke Shields and Benjamin Bratt, all about their new Netflix movie, Mother of the Bride. They're sharing behind-the-scenes stories from set. It gets a little spicy. Yeah, it does. Welcome back to DBL. You may have heard about this earlier this week. The Boy Scouts of America announced they're changing their name. So starting next week, the organization will now go by the name Scouting America. What do we think? Okay. People visiting their website were greeted by this pop-up message that explained they rebranded to reflect the organization's ongoing commitment to welcome every youth and family in America. The announcement comes as the organization is celebrating the 5th anniversary of welcoming girls into scouting. But some folks online are really not happy about this push for inclusivity, with one person commenting on X, quote, "Another institution that was great for boys to learn how to become men has become destroyed by wokeness." All right, what do we think first of the name change? Is that going to work, do anything? And what do we think about the backlash?
This is a PR, this is all PR. I mean, the fact that there is an investigation and 84,000 children and teens had been sexually abused while in the Scouts. Those are the ones that came forward. We all know with stigma and shame, most victims of sexual abuse, especially young boys, will not come forward.
Absolutely right.
So they filed for bankruptcy a handful of years ago. The Girl Scouts sued them. They came to an agreement when the Boy Scouts started recruiting girls because, again, without memberships, they will continue to be in the red. So my opinion isn't they're not gone woke. First of all, they have a history of sexual predation. That is horrific. It's the fact that they are bankrupt. And yes, now their whole policy is we welcome all eligible youth, regardless of race, ethnic background, gender orientation. The list goes on because, again, nobody's signing up.
Right.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Any responses?
I mean, it's a tough look for them.
Well said.
One, in that the Boy Scouts, that's a brand. And they've built that brand over the course of decades, and to kind of put that aside and now have a new name, that's tough because I think if you asked the average person on the street and you said Scouting America, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. That sounds like a show on the Travel Channel. There's no way that people would even associate that with the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts were in a tough place because they have this kind of dark history, and they had a decision. Do we address it? Do we say what we're doing moving forward in terms of filtering out?
That feels
but
right.
Just the transparency of what you've done to correct the horrors of your past is not going to be overshadowed because you're now letting young women and trans kids in. We need to know, what happened back here before we move forward. How did 84,000 monsters that we know of get through your door? What was your screening process? How did those people go unchecked? Once you found a complaint, what were you doing about that? What are you going to do moving forward? And until you do that, I don't think they're going to see your boys.
I totally agree. And I was thinking the exact same thing. They put this woke stuff onto things to attach it. So now you're arguing about that, not about the history of child. You know where I'm getting at.
Notice we didn't fight for the bait.
But so I would say my first instinct was to say, boys and girls are different. Whatever you want to think out there and whatever you believe in and who your kids are. I have 2 little boys and I have a lot of kids in our neighborhood. And the girls play here and the boys are more aggressive and the girls are more adult. You could see their little minds working and it's interesting. It's cool to watch. But to just say everyone's the same, so let's jam them all together into a camp. Whoa. I'm not putting now my girls in danger of this predatory behavior. So I think a lot of people put this on there to deflect whatever the past was. And unfortunately, it's working because people will write in and say, hey, I can't believe Jeff said this about this. Really? Well, look into the history of the Boy Scouts and altar boys. I didn't mean to conflate the Miss USA stories with all this, but I'm very aware of my surroundings, especially my boys and who they're with at all times, just because of the history of everything. And like Al said, I'm lucky enough to have me and my wife also there.
Right. It is a new world out there, everybody. Let us know what you think. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Brooke Shields and Benjamin Bratt. How did Brooke lighten the mood on set during Benjamin's nude scene? Welcome back. Brooke Shields and Benjamin Bratt are household names with incredible careers spanning decades. Now the two are starring in a brand new rom-com together where they reignite an old flame. Earlier, we spoke with them all about it. Check it out.
This is my Aunt Janice.
And you must be the mother of the... Lana?
Hello.
Could someone please explain what's going on?
Please welcome to the show Brooke Shields and Benjamin Bratt.
Oh, we're so excited to have you both. Benjamin, you stripped down in front of Brooke for a scene in Mother of the Bride. But Brooke, I hear you helped him feel a little bit less awkward about the scene. Could you let us know what happened?
I felt that it was uneven, and you've got a whole crew of people all dressed, and I'm dressed, and I just walk in, and I didn't want him to feel
vulnerable.
Alone or vulnerable. So when it turned around to his close-up, I dropped my halter dress, but I had sticky on those little, things that made me look like an alien. But
just she took one for the team.
Yeah, I did.
In solidarity.
Yeah, right.
It was a surprise.
That's right.
I love it.
That's a real friend right there.
That's right.
Who's got your back on set. I love it.
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, right.
We do it every day here. It's like somebody feels weird, you got to do what you got to do. Now, it's really cool because you guys get into a heated game of pickleball in the movie, but we have to know, in real life, who's more competitive between you two?
Oh, we're evenly competitive, but I do think he's better than I am.
I would say we're more or less evenly competitive, but Brooke edges me out probably. When the girl shows up to a pickleball court working a two-handed backhand
In pickleball.
She means business.
You know that she's taking some lessons. You're like, that's an instructor swing right there.
Yep, my money's on Brooke. Sorry, Benjamin. But Benjamin, you and 2000's heartthrob Chad Michael Murray are in a bit of a battle for Brooke's heart. But let's be honest, there is a little bit of an age gap between the two of you. Do you think being older and wiser gives you an advantage over him?
I say go with the hot young blonde guy every time.
He was delightful, but
keeping it real.
It's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So the good news is it looks like she has her choice.
Come on, not one but two.
I know.
This is a great movie.
I love it. Your agents, you're like, yes and yes. Okay. Yeah. Brooke, you all got really close while filming and even lived in a hotel together in Thailand. Who were the best and worst hotel guests in the cast?
Oh, God.
The best and the worst?
Yeah, the best and the worst.
Well, clearly I was the best because we were always neighbors.
Yeah, you were.
I'm quiet. So
you were very
easy.
You were very quiet. We spent all of our time together. Like, that's what was so interesting about this movie. It was like, we were thrown there and we were all in these different locations with just this group of people. And so we had a very accelerated sort of period of time where we had to get to know each other. And so, there was always like, let's go back to, your room for shots of tequila and let's go to Brooke's for, so it was it felt like being a part of a theater.
Being thrust together like that, the whole troupe of actors can go really wrong too times. But in this particular case, especially given the close-knit relationships that exist within the story of the film, they really just kind of imbued them with a sense of reality that would likely not have happened if we didn't, kind of room together. We didn't room together, like shared spaces. No, because inadvertently, like I'd run into her at breakfast, and then I'd have lunch with Miranda and Sean, who happened to be sitting there, and then there's Michael and Rachel and Wilson over there, and then you'd have a midnight snack.
I love it.
So it was really like kind of a family element more than anything else.
And I think that's why right now your chemistry is jumping off screen, and I can only imagine when we actually get to see the movie. So Benjamin, you just mentioned Miranda Cosgrove. She plays your soon-to-be daughter-in-law, and you were both, and one of my kids' faves, mine too, both in Despicable Me Part 2 as well. But was this the first time that you guys were actually in the same room together, or had you been in the same room prior?
Yeah, she and I had actually never met. I don't even think we had a chance to meet at the premiere of Despicable Me 2. And I gave her a hard time because I said, hey, when they do a Despicable Me 4, please give me a call because I want to make sure that, I pitch my storyline for the 4th sequel. She said, no, we just shot it. So. Sorry.
You were like, I mean, the 5th
bad
sequel.
news, but they didn't call you.
Benjamin and Brooke, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations. DBL Nation, be sure to watch Mother of the Bride out on Netflix right now. Thank you again. We'll be right back.
Congrats,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Welcome back. We've got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out. Steph, what do you have for us today? Let's shop.
First up, we've got the Cuisinart 5-in-1 Griddler. It's got 5 different cooking options that you can use on this multi-purpose grill that can handle everything from pancakes to steaks to sandwiches. We've got an amazing deal on this, but you need to hurry because quantities are limited. So normally this is $185.
It's still not bad for all of that, is the Griddler.
We've got it for $69.99. That's saving 62%.
I have someone here who does sandwich paninis every day, and I have been quite jealous. So so I will be buying this.
Speaking of cooking and staying with the theme, we've got the Maverick wireless remote thermometer.
What?
The thermometer probes monitor both the grill and meat temperatures, and then the receiver provides you freedom to monitor the cooking process from up to 300 feet away.
Oh my Lord.
This doorbuster deal is always so popular. We've got a limit on these, 3 per customer, okay?
Got it.
Normally it's $60, however, we've got it for $12. That's saving 80%. And
Oh my.
barbecue season's just around the corner.
Great price.
Fabulous. Now, we all know I love jewelry and sparkle, so this is right up my alley. It's the Savvy C Birthstone Gem Bracelet.
Ooh.
We've got 12 styles, obviously, for each month of the year. Normally, it's $175 for this. However, we've got it for $19.99, saving 89%. They look really pretty too.
Nice, lovely.
Love a bit of bling. And then last up, but definitely not least today, we've got the 8-pack Australian Gold water-resistant lotion sunscreen.
Oh, good.
It's a plant-based SPF lotion made with aloe vera and coconut oil.
Oh, wow.
So normally these are $13 each.
Okay.
However, we have got an 8-pack for $18. That's saving 83%.
Oh, that's such a good deal. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can scan that QR code right on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. Welcome back to DBL. We're going to talk to you about Brooke and Benjamin from our comments. Sherry says they both look so great. There's no way Benjamin Bratt is 60 years old. Megan says seems like a fun, lighthearted movie, perfect for right now. They did look great, didn't they?
Benjamin Bratt's 60 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
I don't even
gosh.
think looking great is the right phrase.
Yeah.
Both
of them are stunning.
They exuded.
Yes.
They
so-
exuded cool.
And they talked about how they go into each other's room and take shots of tequila.
I know.
Yeah.
Can we do
Love
that?
Tori does that.
Bye, guys. I don't do that.